my creatures of the night and dwellers of the light. I'm Bloody Luv, and today I am going to be doing makeup. Probably involving oranges and browns. That's as far as I've gotten, as far as an idea of what I want to do. I'm very indecisive, and I usually don't know what I'm doing with my makeup until I'm doing it. Today I do have a setup idea for what I want to do, so that's awesome. I'm going to be starting out with Urban Decay Primer Potion, original. They've got 4 different ones, I think, but I like this one the best. I have an oily, dry combination type of skin, and I can't wear eyeshadow without this stuff. I've tried the concealer trick, which, if you don't know, you literally just put concealer on your eyelid and then you wait for it to dry, and then you put on the makeup on top of it. That does not work for me. I've tried 4 other brands, I want to say, of primer, eyeshadow primer. There's a difference between the eyeshadow primer and face primer, if you don't know that already. But I do find that this one works best for me to help make it stay, not only stay for a few hours, but I can sleep in it with my makeup on and everything, and it still stays a little faded, but it still stays, which is awesome. Now today I am just doing my eyes. Usually I don't do under my eyes too often, but today I want to change that up a little. So I am taking it all the way under. I'm just doing the same thing on the other eye. And then I think I'll go to concealer. Now, this is my first YouTube video, and I can't guarantee the quality. I'm doing this on my phone with earbud microphone, and if you hear noise in the background, I'm sorry, I gotta have something going on. It's currently 2 in the morning. I work 3rd shift, and today's my day off, so I'm just trying to keep up with the schedule. It does take a second for the primer to dry, so you want to wait for that. Now, I do have a couple different types of concealers. I've got this one, it's called Bye Bye Under Eye by IT. That one I'm still kind of testing. Still don't know if I like it or not. I've got L'Oreal True Match. I don't know if you can see that. If you can't, I am sorry. And then I've got Maybelline Instant Age Rewind. So this one is loud, and my family is sleeping, and it's already weird for me to be talking at this hour. So I'm not going to go with that one, and I'm not going to go with the under eye one. I'm going to go with my True Match, which actually could probably use replacement. I don't know how old it is. I really don't. I believe I got it last year. It might have been earlier this year, I'm not sure. I don't get makeup too often. I do, but I don't. Now with this one, I am going to start off with my fingers to try and blend that out. Also, I've got a mirror that I'm looking down at. I'm sure you already knew that, but if I tilt my head down too far, I'm sorry. Again, first video. I'm trying. Also, I'm gonna make a lot of weird faces. Be warned. I am bringing this up inwards because I noticed that I get shadows right on the inside. Inner part of my eye, right next to my nose, that little divot right there. my skin does kind of crease up a little bit. That's why I pull down to make sure. Microphone's down there. I pull down to make sure that all of those creases are covered, and occasionally throughout the day once I've done my makeup I do get a little bit of flaked off mascara and makeup creased up in there, depending on what eye look I do, depending on how I set up my makeup, things like that. But that's all good. The concealer dries really fast, which is awesome, and the primer is all set. So the main reason that I'm doing these videos is to try and share information that I have gained over the years. I've been doing my makeup about 5 years, I want to say. I am not good at it. I am okay at it. I'm still learning, and my opinion on makeup and brands will change, as is with anything. But I'm going to give the most accurate, up-to-date information that I currently have, and I'm going to share it with you. So that way, hopefully, I can help someone else out there with their makeup journey. Because I know that when I was first starting out with makeup, I didn't find a whole lot out there that really helped me the way that I needed it. So, there are different makeups, different makeup brushes out there that you can use for different purposes. We've got the flat brush that you use to pack on eyeshadow, makes it easier for you to get the most pigmented eye look. Your eyeshadow will be the most pigmented if you use that brush, depending on how you put it on. Usually use that to go all the way throughout your lid, and then you use a blending brush. I've got a really big one here. Let me pull this one back out. So this is my small blending brush, and this is my big blending brush. There is difference, and this one's floofier. I like the floofy. So I usually end up using this, but technically what you're supposed to do is take your little flathead brush and you take the eyeshadow, you pack it on, and then you use this and you blend it out after that. That's what you're supposed to do. I don't. For one, because I'm lazy, and for two, because I like the floof. So, yeah, if you do makeup often and you know how this works and you don't like the way that I do this, I'm sorry. But this is how I function. This is how I do my makeup. Plus, it helps when I need to do it quick. I am going in with Concrete Minerals. I just realized that I've got my front-facing camera going. So if everything looks backwards when I'm done with this, I am sorry. I'm not smart. So, well, it's not that I'm not smart. I'm just a little slow sometimes. This color is Ember. Oh yes, nice pretty orange. Very pretty. Loose pigment. Gotta be careful. I'm honestly just happy that I didn't dump it everywhere. But yeah, I don't clean my brush in between eye looks either. I do, but I don't. I rub it on my arm just to make sure that there's no color on it, because I don't mind if there's still sparkles left over on it, because I use this for just about everything. There are times that I use all of my brushes. Today I am going to try and use multiple brushes, but we'll see where this goes. What I just did is I wiped some of the inside of the lid off, mainly because there's not too much in there, and it makes it a little bit easier. So that way, what you're supposed to do with these pigments, you tap your brush in the pot, and then you tap it off to tap off any excess, so that way it doesn't get lost all over your face. There are some people who like to do their whole face of makeup before they do their eyeshadow. I don't do full face. I do for holidays, and if we're taking pictures, that's about it. So usually it's just my eyes real quick because I like to do something a little fun. But what I'm going to do with the orange is I'm just going to go right up here in my crease. Now, my eyes have a lot of excess skin, so when I pull my eyelid all the way down, it's all stretched out. It looks completely different to when my eyes are open. So that makes things a little difficult. Doesn't usually go the way that I want it to. It's what it is. I just play around with it until it works. Or until I think it works. But what I'm gonna do is actually, I'm gonna take it with my eye. There, this will look a little bit better. I take it with my eye looking normal, and I just kind of blend out like that. That's a little patchy. It'll get better as we go. But I basically just take my eye when it's open, and I go like that. If you're planning on using lighter colors down here, you might want to be a little more careful, but I'm planning on using darker browns down here. So I'm gonna take the lazy way. I'm not gonna be careful. I'm gonna be a little reckless. But that's okay. Basically, I am feeling very thirsty for fall and pumpkin patches. And I was thinking about pumpkin patches. Then I got the idea of, oh, dirt and pumpkins, orange and brown. Those are very pretty colors. I want to do an eye look for that. And here we are. Very, very weird thought process. But it is what it is. We're just gonna go with it. Because what matters at the end of the day is how you like how it looks. Okay. So I tapped the brush in the pot. Now I'm just tapping off gently here. Just until I don't see too much of the dust coming off. I was just gonna say something. This video is gonna have a lot of editing. I'm just gonna keep going until I remember what I was gonna say. I'm just going ahead. I like to use the blending brush with whatever color I'm going up top with first, just so that way. Oh, that looks really orange on camera. That's nice. Yeah, that's nice. But I like having the ability to smoke it out a little bit more. And if I start out up top, I can always add more. Usually I'll put the darker colors on my lid, so obviously using the same brush. I'm lazy, I don't want to have to wipe it off multiple times. So I'm going to go from lightest to darkest more often than not. Now, I also want to go right into the corner of my eye. The inner corner of my eye, not the outer corner. So much powder. If sound quality sucks, I'm sorry. But I want to go on in the inner corner of my eye just because this is going to be one of the lightest colors that I'm going to have. There we go. So that's where we're at right now. But hopefully you'll be able to see, like, this is where it is with my eye fully open, how I usually end up looking. Sometimes my eyes will be a little bit wider, sometimes they won't. But when you close it, and then you stretch it, everything pops up. I'm gonna blend this a little bit more. So, yeah, that's why I like to start with my eye closed. Now, I go just about all the way up to my eyebrow with the color. That's just how I like to do it. If you're trying to replicate what I'm doing, you might not like to do it that way. Or you might decide on trying different colors, which is more than fine. You might not use the same brands, which is also fine. Which is something that I did not know when I first started. I first started and I thought I have to use every single thing that they're using, just so that way I can get it to look the same. Which it seems really simple to look at it like, hey, all of these companies have all of the same colors, made a little differently. Some are made more with sparkles, some are made more matte, without sparkles. Some are glitter. I love glitter. I still need to find a good glitter primer. We're getting a little off subject with that. Point is, I'm a little slow and did not realize probably one of the more simpler things, that just because they're using Maybelline doesn't mean that I have to use Maybelline, especially if it doesn't work. There are makeup brands out there that have more sensitive makeup for if you get allergic to what's in certain types of makeup. If you don't, that's awesome. That's more places you can go. If you do, I'm really sorry. Now I'm going in with the orange on the other side because for right now, I like where the orange is. God, that looks so cool on camera. I like where the orange is right now. So we're gonna stay with that. I had the orange on the wrong side. But that's okay. I didn't have as much orange on my brush as I thought I did. So it works out for the best. Now, if you are using a flat brush at any point in time, you want to tap it onto your lid. You don't want to smudge it. At least that's what I'm told. Personally, I like to tap the product onto my eye and then smudge it together a little bit to get it to blend. Maybe that's usual. I don't know. That's just another thing that I've tried to find answers on and haven't been able to yet. No, if I'm quiet throughout some of this video, I'm sorry. I'm trying to come up with dialogue. I'm not very good at it. I still haven't remembered what I was going to say earlier. And I probably won't until the end of this video, if I do at all. No, I can never get both of my eyes to look the same. I get them close. They never look the same, especially with eyeliner. But I like to get them as close as I can. If you are using, like me, a lighter color up top, darker color at the bottom, you can feel free to go ahead and make some mistakes. Not really mistakes. You can go further on your eye if you want. Further down, further up. If your eye is shaped a certain way that you want to try and work around, that's more than fine. Do what you need to do to get it to look the way you want it to look. But personally, even though I could go all the way across, I don't want to use that much product on all of my lid, and I find it easier to blend it if I don't do that. Everyone does things differently. Everyone works differently, and it works differently for you no matter what you're doing. Okay. Now, more color. I just realized that I'm doing a lot of things around the microphone. I'm really sorry if things sound weird. Okay, so I've got a little bit more product on my brush right now. Oh my god, that's so cool. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I'm not really sorry because I'm excited. This is kind of fun. But because I've got more product on my eyeshadow. I've got more eyeshadow on my eyeshadow. Because I have more product on my brush, I'm going to tap very lightly, very slowly, because I don't want anything falling down. But I'm just going over the areas that I've already gone over that I think need a little bit more. And we blend. Use this camera. Now, sometimes, depending. Oh god, that looks weird. We can fix it. We're gonna fix it like this. So, sometimes I don't even look. I just go based off of where I feel everything. I've got bone here, no bone right about here. So I can judge by where everything's at based on that. And I can feel when I'm getting closer. I poked myself in the eye. I can feel when I'm getting closer to my lash line, which helps. But right now, let me get a little closer. All I'm doing is trying to blend this inner part because it's a little too boxy up here for me as opposed to this side, which I think fades very nicely out to where everything else is at, even though I will be going in with the lighter color up top anyways to blend a little better and add a little sparkle because I need something to brighten my life up a little bit more. But I'm also trying to bring it down a little bit, which will take a minute. Now, you're not going to get everything to blend all the way out. You're not going to get everything to disappear. Sometimes I can't even get it to do what I want it to do. More often than not, I can't get it to do what I want it to do. So, I just try my best to make them look as even as possible. So right now, even though this eye is a little bit darker, I'm going to be going in later with a lighter, with probably this one right here because it's pearly. Let's see, this might be a little better. So that one is Cemetery by the Wicked Sisters Hocus Pocus palette. Almost called it a book. It's a book of makeup. We'll call it a book. Let's go in with it now. I've already got the orange on there. It's not going to be too big of a deal. Now I want to start with the eye that has a little bit more pigment on it first, just to know if I want to add a little bit more orange to this side before I try and lighten it up, or judge where I want to put all of that on. Right now, I've got a decent amount on my brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it right in here. I'm going to tap it in, because if I tap it, it'll make it lighter already. Put a little bit more on the brush, and then we blend. A little bit more, just to try and lighten that up just a bit. A little more even. Works out nicer. On this side, and add it more over on this side. but it's going everywhere. Only reason that I added it up here is because there was a bit of a harsher line of where my skin went to color. So I just wanted a little extra pigment there to try and blend out a little bit nicer. I wanted it to go under my eyes too. We'll do that in a minute. Now, the reason that I tapped it in on this side and not so much on this side is because of how dark it was over here. I wanted to center that white, pearly, creamy color right where it was darkest, and then blend that out. Over here, I don't really need that as much. I do need a little bit more pearly over here though. Okay, now, same palette, going in with this one right there. It's called Salem. It is the orange for this one. Just putting, it looks like a lot more on camera than it is. But I want to go in on top of the orange that I've already got because it is a bit more of a lighter orange. So although I've got that nice base, this one I'm going to put over here. It blends out a lot nicer and lighter. They both blend nicely, but this blends out lightly. Now the reason that I'm looking up is because of how much skin I've overall got on my face. It droops a lot in certain areas, especially around the eyes. So I like to look up or pull down whenever I'm doing under my eyes, just so that way I don't go too far down with what I'm doing. Personally, I don't think it looks good on me, so we don't do it. But now, it blends fairly nicely. I've got the dark orange under there that I can pile back on top of this bright orange. But the bright orange helps give it a little bit more of a pumpkin-y vibe. Pop. I want to be a little more careful on this side just because of how dark I had it at the beginning. I don't want to make the mistake again. I'm sorry that I'm all over the place. I need to find different, more comfortable positions sometimes. I'm going to put my little pot of color down so I don't spill it. Okay, so now that I'm getting more where all of that lighter color versus darker color is centered, I'm going to look down. So that way I go more on the inside of the eye. I am taking the brush and I'm kind of like, here's my eye, laying it a little more back onto it instead of closer up here or more flat onto it. I'm bad at describing things. I'm very sorry. Basically, I want to go more on here and up here. And I need to add more pearly over here. So I'm going to take the orange here and try and add a little bit extra, just so that way I don't go too light. Like I said, it doesn't always work out well for me. I just realized that I was looking pretty far down. I am sorry. And the pearl. And got a little one on this side. Now, because I've got so much skin around my eyes, I've got to be a little more mobile. That's what I'm looking for. I've got to be a little more mobile with it. This is going to be a long video, and I'm sorry. What I'm going to do now is take that orange. I want to start out drawing here. Basically from where I'm going to be going under here, only up here, so that way I can get a feel for where it's at before I go to my eye, because I'm not going to be looking at it. So I'm taking my pinky, pulling down, looking up, and going under my eye. Okay. So I'm going to find the part of my brush that has a little bit more on it, and doing it over again. I'm just going to blend this corner out a little bit more, so that way it looks a little more like that. Again, they're not going to be even, but I'm going to try and get them close. Okay, this side's a little higher than this side, so I'm going to try and pull this side down just a little bit. Really blending. If I've got more product on my brush, I'm going to definitely want to be more careful when I'm working around here. If I don't have a whole lot of product on my brush, I'm basically going off of what's on my eye. I don't mind going in and touching up a little more, looking straight forward. It doesn't worry me as much, basically. I'm gonna move my legs. If things get weird, I'm sorry. Leg moved. Okay, so we've got the orange down. Now I'm gonna leave it like this until I get the browns on and I get that to where I want it. Mainly because I want to go over with the orange to try and get more of that tone to it. But first, let's take a trip to the hydration station. You don't have to if you don't want to, or if you've already hydrated. Personally, I need to take breaks as often as I can. I get dehydrated too easily. Mainly because I try to remind myself and then I forget to remind myself. And then I remember when my mouth is drier than the desert, like, oh, I needed to do that. Right. Browns I'm going to use. Brown tones look good on my eyes, which I stand for my eye color. I've got contacts in, but my eye color is either brown, green, hazel. I just bring contacts in to go over it. I like to bring inside more. I can do a lot more pretty things with it. Let's make it pretty. All eyes are pretty. I just like to enhance that part about myself a little more. I've got multiple different browns that I could use. Multiple different palettes I could use. But for right now, I'm going in with Lorac Lux. It's the Diamond Palette. And it's got all the pretties in them. It's got the shimmers, the sparkles. I just like the way that everything looks together. I think that I'm going to... I don't know. I don't plan to head this far. I just dropped on my blanket. As I was saying, I think I'm going to go with this one. Let's do that. It's called Grand. Not feeling too grand right now. I'm just tapping it real lightly. I'm going to pull it up so you can see. Like, literally quick little taps. Now what I'm going to do, instead of going right up here where all the color is, I'm going to go a little more out here and just kind of tap it on until I can see just how much color I had on the brush. Make sure that it's not too much, otherwise it's going to come out really dark and it's going to be hard to blend. So, with how it is, I'm good to go. And do the same on the other side. Now, if I only do maybe 2 taps into the pan, I'm just going to brush it on, usually because I know how dark these colors are going to come out. I don't want it too dark in here for this look. I want the darker colors to be more out here and then smoked up a little bit. So let's go with this one. It's called Luxury right here. This shows all the colors very nicely. I'm just going to tap it out there. Now I'm using it on both sides this time because it is a darker color. I want it to blend evenly. We're just going to blend into the rest of, well, for me, the part of the eye that doesn't have any color on it. Now, if I do end up making more videos, I find that I like them, I'll get a better setup, I'll have a better camera, I'll get a better microphone. But for right now, I'm just testing it out, hoping that I can pass on some knowledge to people, to people who might not have said knowledge. I wouldn't call it wisdom, but if you can pass it on, you may as well. Now, I get little fuzzies. I think it's from the brush. I'm not quite sure. I just tap them away. I don't want to be too aggressive with it, but that's just me. I have smudged my eye before. I forget that I wear makeup very often. It gets sad sometimes. But I will full on go to rub my eye, and then I'll stop like halfway through my lid. Remember that I have makeup on, and thankfully it smudges out the shimmers a little bit more, but it doesn't affect anything that's directly on the primer. Now, I am going to take my brush and just smudge all of these around, just like this. Whether this actually does anything or not, I just like to do it. Makes me feel better, makes me feel like I'm making them blend a little bit more. I am holding this brush wrong. Most people like to hold it back here, makes it lighter on the hand. I think this is what I was going to say earlier. I don't know, but a lot of people like to hold it back here or even further just because it's lighter. You don't press too hard. Personally, I'm all over the brush. I'll be over here or back here, middle, sometimes back here, but that's very rare. I like my eyes very pigmented. I like my eyeshadow dark and noticeable. The factory that I work in, it is a little darker, so it's nice to have everything blend brighter. Probably not using any of that right. Makes sense in my head. If you understand, that's awesome. Thank you. If not, I'm sorry. But, do what we can do. Now, as I said, I like my eyeshadow dark. And right now, my browns aren't very dark at all. Whole reason I was talking about this is because I want to make sure that you know that you don't have to hold it up here. There is a whole lot of holding abilities, placement options. There's a whole bunch of placement options for where you can put your hand on this. Probably not gonna, if anyone who does makeup regularly is on here watching this, they're probably not going to be too happy seeing where I'm holding the brush. And that's okay. I get it. Not a lot of people that see me do makeup are happy about that. But, it's okay. Now that I've got that down, I'm going to go over the corners with this really dark one. That one's called Exclusive, and it's got shimmer to it. It actually looks a lot like a brownie. Brownies are yummy. But I'm just going to tap this one out here. Now with where I'm doing it, it's right kind of at the end of my eye. And it's just in this little spot because it's going to blend out a lot. I'm only tapping it twice in the pan and I'm just tapping it out there. The reason that I'm doing it here is because I've got the browns everywhere else and this is going to blend into all of them. I'm going to wipe off my brush on my arm real quick, mainly because you've got all of that could have gotten on the rest of your eyes. Could have gotten on the rest of my eyes. I didn't want to risk that much because that would make the balance between the two different. Because you're not going to get as much from this side to move over to this side. You're just going to get what I just put on my arm all on this side and then barely anything on this side. And I've tried to get the same. I've tapped my brush in the pan once, tapped it off a little bit, tried to make both of them similar. Doesn't work out too well for me. I just don't do it. So now that I've got those there and I've wiped off my brush, you can also use paper towels. That is an option. Or a microfiber cloth that might actually pick up the color very well off the brush in order to do the quick switches. But I'm just gonna blend. I think I've got. Okay, so I'm blend it out. Now I don't mind if it gets a little bit everywhere. It's more fine to me. You might decide if you're replicating this. You don't really like that. And that is fine. But this is starting to smoke out into the orange just that little bit. And if it's not, like, you can still have that line there. That's gonna be there. It's more obvious on the camera because I've got the extra lighting, I've got the better camera. It doesn't look the same in person, which is another reason that I've been in so much awe seeing the colors on the brush. But that's another story. So I'm going to be going over these two. I'm going to go right in the middle of that with that first orange that I had because it's a little bit darker. It's going to blend a little better. We've already got it under the brighter orange, so it's going to be easier to make it look good. Now, another little tip that I do. I find it works for me, might not work for you. It's just the way that I've gotten accustomed to doing my makeup. When I'm working with darker colors on the outside, I go like that and then like that. Because for me, I'm bringing that a little more out into right where my crease is, right back in here. And I'm bringing it down to the lash line. Blends better. I've got that middle color to kind of widen that area a little bit. I think it looks better. It might not do much of a difference, but it is what it is. I'm gonna keep doing it. I just keep going back and forth. Sometimes I'll drag all the way across my eye. Sometimes I won't. Okay. So I'm just looking at how it is on my eyes right now. I kind of like where that's at. But I want to try and add a little bit of a darker brown in here now. So I'm going to wipe my brush off real quick just to make sure nothing came off. Now, I'm just going in with a dry brush. It's always going to be a dry brush. I'm going in with my brush with no product on it, no added product on it, just to blend the brown and the orange back together a little more right in here. Now, you can go in little circles. You can go straight back and forth. I go a little bit of both sometimes. It all depends on what I do. Alright, I'm going to go in the corner a little more. So, something else I'm going to close this. I don't want to drop it on the blanket again. What I do sometimes is I will gently put my finger on my eyelid and pull that skin a little more. Make sure that my eyebrows are up, kind of like I'm surprised. And I just blend. That helps me get into that corner crease a little bit better. You don't want to be too rough with it, otherwise you could take a little bit of color off. If you want to, that's fine. Sometimes I'll just pat my eyes to take a little bit of something off. Like if I add a little too much, let's say I added a little too much orange, I'd just pat my finger across my eye a little bit, try and blend it out that way. My finger will take up some of that product and it'll be a little bit lighter. Sometimes. Other times I just add lighter colors to it because they've got sparkles more often than not. I like sparkles. Alright, so now that that's a little bit more there, let's add, I'm going to go in with this one. It's called Elite. Now some people will tap off of, let me pull it up to the camera, some people tap off of the back of their makeup palette. I don't like doing that. I like to try and tap it back into the pan because more often than not I'm using it on the other eye, so I can just pick up whatever fell off real quick. Use the camera again. I'm going to start in the middle of where the medium brown meets the darker brown. And I'm just going to pat it in. Now I'm going to mix them together. So that way it goes all the way through orange and all the way through what I've already got on my lid. So I can't tell if it shows in the camera, but in my mirror it actually looks like it's blending very nicely. I just hit the bottom of that pan. That's a little upsetting. Apparently I use that color a lot. That shade a lot. I'm doing the same thing on the other eye because as you can see it just darkens it a little bit more. And I'm in the mood for spooky vibes and this is helping me get there. I've got my pumpkin candle going, I've got my purple lights on, I've got my spooky stuff playing in the background. Let's get spooky. I'm just tapping it in there. And I'm not going to tap it too much on my eye because I picked up what I dropped off from the last one. Oh yeah. So it actually looks really bright on camera. It's not as bright in person. I just keep seeing the eyeshadow on my blanket and it's making me sad. Pop my fingers real quick, just so that way they stop hurting. So I'm not going to rub my brush off on my arm this time, purely because I'm going back in with the orange. Going right in here and a little bit out here to fan that darker brownie brown out. Which, did I mention it had sparkles? Because sparkles are awesome, in my opinion. Not everyone feels that way. And you can feel free to use, if you're using this as a tutorial, you can feel free to go ahead and use a full eye makeup look with no sparkles. It'll work the same. It might look cooler. You never know. As long as you like it, that is what counts. And go right on in and just blend some of that orange in. Now I just dipped my brush in the pan. I'm not tapping it out. I'm going to gently tap it on. If you're careful with it, I mean, go a little bit down here, that's fine. But we go out here. We're at 6 minutes. This is going to be a pain to edit, especially because I'm doing it on my phone, and I've never done these. Well, at least can see how it blends out a little bit more versus this side. I hope. I'll find out when I'm editing. Now, sometimes I get through all of this. I think I'm at the end where I can add the extra sparkles. And I decide to go back in with my darker colors and adjust. If you're like me and you do that too, awesome. If not, as long as you like it, ain't nobody out there that can tell you you're wrong. Well, they can. Just don't let it get to you. Now, this one I tapped off on the first round of orange that I put on this eye. I'm doing the same on this one. The second round that I go in with, I'm going to just tap it in the pot, and then very gently tap on. Alright, they actually look pretty even. I'm just debating on whether or not I want to add a little bit more brownie or not. And I do. But I am done with the orange, so I'm going to go ahead and pack that up real quick. Not that I'm actually packing any of this up. It's going to take me a healthy minute to put some of this away. But that's okay, because hopefully this is helping someone out there out. And if not, like I said, this is fun, so it's worth it. With the time. Now, I'm just gently, I did 3 taps into the pan, and I did 3 taps on the side just to try and tap some of that off, because I don't want too much. I want some in the brush, but I want to be able to blend it, so I don't want too much resting on the tips of the bristles. Now, what I'm going to do is just tap downwards from where the dark brown kind of sort of starts, all the way down to my lash line. I'm going to blend that around everywhere a little bit. I'm going to blend it out a little. Now, it's not going to make too much of a difference because of how I'm doing it, but it's going to make enough of a difference for me. I tapped a little extra on that one, but that's okay. It's cool how this is coming up on the camera. I watch beauty YouTubers all the time doing their makeup and stuff. I just never realized that, oh hey, this is going to show up differently on camera. Like I said, I'm slow. So, I did the taps in the pan and on the side. Now I'm doing my little... Oh god, there's the fallout. That's what it'll do. It'll fall onto your cheek and you'll go to move it away. It'll fall on your face. What I have heard some people, if you're doing a full face of makeup and then you decide to try and do this on top of it, some people will put loose setting powder under their eyes when they're doing the baking process, just to try and get that a little bit lighter. They will put that all under their eyes, so that way when they go to wipe that away, they wipe away any fallout from their eyeshadow. Okay. Oh, yeah. So, depending on where I look, you can see where I've got just the orange, and then I look down. I think I look down and I raise my eyebrows. Yeah. No. So I look down and you can start to see some of the colors together. I pull this up. You can see where everything's at. This keeps falling out of my ear. I'm going to go a little lighter. Now, literally, this just gives you a little less control over the brush, which is what some people like. But sometimes I like it. It depends on what I'm doing with my eyes. And if it's like tonight when I'm being experimental with what I'm doing to prepare for the next week of eye looks, I give it a whirl. Now, what I'm going to do is pull my eye down and just try and go over that a little bit. And I'm swirling the brush around just to see if any color pops off. And if not, it's no big deal. I personally cannot stand having hair anywhere around my face or on my neck and shoulders when I'm doing makeup. Even if it's just my eyes, it bothers me. So, in my makeup kit, which I can't find easily right now, so I'm not gonna look because it might take a minute. I usually keep a hair clip just right at the ready in case I'm already sat down on my bed all nice and comfy because I cover myself in my makeup. I don't want to be sitting down all nice and comfy, ready to do my makeup, just to find out that I need to pull my hair back. The reason that I only went this far with the orange is because I'm planning on trying to do some things around. That's just as far as I wanted to take it. If you're following this tutorial / get ready with me / whatever this is, then you can decide if you want to bring it out further or not. That's more than fine. It all depends on your eye shape and how you like to do it. Currently, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I might add some sparkles from that. I actually don't know if I've got any red sparkles. Might. What's that in here? I've got pink sparkles. Let's go with some pink sparkles. Now, let's see here. I've got a whole roll of brushes that I could use. I just don't always use. Alright, so this one looks like it's had some sparkles on it. I know that it looks more like I've used concealer for it, but that's from Liquid Sparkles that I have. This is more of a gel, but I use it for stuff like this. So that's on my blanket now too. As long as I remember it's there now and smush it in. But this is from Colourpop. It's one of their, what are you? Jelly Much shadows. It's called On the Fly. I liked it because it was a little more on the dark mauve-y side. It was pretty. I actually just remembered that I've got this one. It's called Spindle. It's from the Villains collection, also from Colourpop. Don't mind how it looks in here. This came to me just like that. It's nice and pretty and sparkly, and I'm done doing that. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that on this brush actually. But if you, let me try and do it like this. Okay, where is it? There it is. So you just kind of tap it on there. It doesn't really move because it's not dry. It's just jellified. It's a little jelly. Tiny. Anyways, so I'm gonna take yay so much. I'm gonna try and make that work for both of my eyes. Mainly because there's a lot. But I'm gonna like having that light purpley sparkle. It fell on my face. I'm gonna like having that as a bit more of a highlighter. Now, if you don't know what a highlighter is, for eyes, it is just literally there to highlight the eyes, make them pop a little more. I'm just gonna spread that out a bit. Okay, get that off of my face. Alright, so, I don't know if you can see it. I'll try and get up closer when I'm done with everything and show you. I'm gonna add a little more to the brush. But, instead of going up top, I'm gonna go underneath. Yeah. Pull my eye down, and I'm just gonna very gently pull that in on my inner eye. Just very gently tap that in there, so that way it's there, but it's small. Because I don't want too much right there of this stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and squint my eyes just to try and get it to look a little more like it's everywhere in here. I don't have enough on my brush to actually do that. Let's add a little more. You can always add more. It's very hard to take it away. Little more on there. I'm gonna go right in the same way. Hold eye down, hold skin down. Now just on my eyes, just so I can get that inner part right here because it's a little harder for me with how my eyes are. I'm gonna make some weird faces. Alright, so I like where that is at. Where that is at. I don't like to do too much of it, mainly because I'm going back in with more sparkles. And those are gonna stick to this because it's a little more of a jelly and it's not completely dry right now. So add some to the brush. I had a little more on this side because I know that I'm gonna need more on this side than what I started out with on this one. Let's go ahead. It's important to get a good grip on your skin before you pull down because if you don't want it to slip up, especially if you're like me. I've poked myself in the eye many times because my skin slipped up. It's bumped my brush into my eye. It doesn't feel good. I'm just gonna make sure I'm pulling it out the same on both sides. Choices, all the choices. So I've got Anastasia Moon Child palette. It's highlighters. Well, they call it a glow kit. But look at those. There's so many. All different colors to go with many different eye looks. I could even do the gray. But I don't know. I'm gonna do the purple. I want to get a little weird with it. But orange and purple do look pretty good together. So I've actually got a lot on my brush. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. I'm just gonna tap on over what I have up here. I'm gonna pull it out a little bit. Pull down here. Stretch my eye out a little bit. And I'm gonna pull this out a little more than what I had that jelly shadow at. I'm gonna go a little more on the inner part here. You can see it on the camera. Just so that way it highlights in here a little more depending on where I'm looking. So you can see the difference between the two eyes. See the difference between the two eyes, the highlighted versus the unhighlighted. Where it sits everywhere. I like doing this like this up in here just because I think it looks cute. So if it looks straight, I think it looks good. I think it works out with how I keep my eye open. And again, the factory that I work in, a little more darkly lit, so having that extra bit to pop out is nice for me. Alright, tried to get the same amount for the other one. I'm doing the same thing on the other eye. I'm happy with the sparkles that I have. I'm happy with how everything looks in general, I think. So, I'm going to put that brush back. I actually did put it back. I didn't just set it off to the side, which is a plus for me. Now what I'm going to do is go in with my eyeliner. Now I have Urban Decay Perversion right now. I go through these a lot. I try different brands just to see what I like and what I don't like. This one so far has been really good. It's got a felt tip to it. They've got multiple types out there if you don't know. Felt tip like what I have in my hand. Where is it? There are, God, this does not look good, I'm sorry. Pencil liners out there. This one I might end up putting on my under eye. This is NYX Epic Wear liner stick. Now this one is in the color Deepest Brown. the regular liner that I'm going to be using is a black. This one, shake it. Yeah, I actually don't think that this comes in another color. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. I don't see a color on it. But I like the dramatic look sometimes, more often than not. My eyes are as dramatic as I try to get because you gotta be a little dramatic sometimes, have a little fun with it. Then there are some, oh wow, this is old. Okay. Forgive me for how bad this is. It needs to be thrown out, but this is like, it's like the felt tip as far as style goes, but all of the color is in here. It's not in the brush itself. So you dip it in, you pull it out. This is not new, so it's not as liquidy as it should be. So that's getting thrown out. What else is there? I can't remember right now, but I'm going in with my felt tip marker type pen. Let me try. That's as close as you're getting. Okay. Give me a second. Alright. Get a little closer to the camera just so I can show you a little easier ish without looking too far down. So I like, a lot of people like to start on the inner side, work on this. What I do changes. Sometimes I will work on, let's work on the baseline. I'll do both eyes differently. We'll do that. So on my right eye, I'm going to start by getting as close to my lashes as possible. As close to that lash line as I can. I'm just very gently, carefully pulling it all the way down to about here. Now, could do that with the other side. Usually if I do one side one way, I do the other side the same way. Depends on how I'm feeling. I forgot to shake this up, but that's okay. So now I'm going to go what it suggests you do. So you take something like this and you go from your nose to your to the inside of your eyebrow, through your iris to the corner, then take it like that. That should be where your line is. I suck at showing things off. I suck at explaining things. Again, if you could understand that, awesome. If not, I'm sorry. But what I'm doing is I'm following that outer line, but I like to follow right where my eye comes up. I find that works out easier because I've got that flap of skin over my eye. It makes it a little harder for me to do my wings, but I work with it. So I'm gonna, yeah, that works out fine. I'm gonna go ahead, stretch my eye out, and pull down. So that gives me a base of where I should try and get my eye. I'm gonna pull straight down just to get it a little more here, I guess. So when I relax my eye, it doesn't look too bad. When I kind of make a face, you can see. Now you're not going to notice much from here. I like to try and get it as good as I can. So I'm going to take from almost the tip of the wing, but not quite. I'm just going to pull that down. That gives me the basis of where my eye is going to be, where my eyeliner is going to be, obviously, where that wing is going to look. I'm just going to fill that in. Now I'm going to go from there, pull it out to match where that wing is. If you can hear me breathing, I'm really sorry. But that's one way I do my wings. That actually turned out really good. I'm going to touch up that wing a little. Just a teeny bit. That's really impressive. I never get my eyes to do that. I'm going to touch up down here. I'm just going to tap my brush in there. Literally just taking it, doing a quick tap right at the base of where my eyelashes are, just to try and fill that in a little bit darker. But that's one way that I do it. Here's the other way. Kind of similar. Very similar. But what I do is I just do the same measuring out here, and I pull down. I'm just judging how good it looks to this side compared to this side as far as how up it is versus how sideways it is. Now my second eye, I usually do a little bit smaller, or try to, as far as how long and out there it is, because usually they don't come out similar. Usually, actually those are about the same length, but usually they tend to be different directions. I'm gonna let that get a little moister. It dried out. I'm taking too long. But basically, I just pulled in same way as I did on that side. Only difference is that I didn't line out my eye. Now this one, it's got a little bit of a wing up there, but it's fairly blunted. What I'm gonna do, actually, that looks, if I'm centering the camera, I think I am, I'm not sure, but this one is kind of slanted, and this one's kind of slanted. If you heard that, I'm sorry. We'll find out during editing. So I'm just gonna pull this down a little more. Pull it in. I'm going to judge based off of this one. Where did that little spike on this one? It should be bigger. And then I just let that one. I'm gonna make this one more stunted. It works. They're different, but it works. So I'm gonna make it in. I don't pull too much. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull. Straight across lashes. And then from the other side, just pull. Pull. Now I like to start as close to the lashes as I can because it doesn't always look good on me to have my eyeliner all the way up there, even though it ends up almost all the way up there. Because if I have my eyes open, like open, it closes everything up a little more, makes it look kind of off. But when I've got my eyes more regular, you can still see the eyeshadow on my lid. If you like to have your eyeliner up there, that's fine. This is just how I like to make it look, to make my eyes look as good as I think they can. I'm gonna go. I tried to do it off camera, I really shouldn't have. Okay. I think I'm not now. So, now, let's go ahead and pull it out. Okay. So, I'm gonna go back in. We're done. Sometimes I find that it looks a little lighter in certain areas than others. I just like it. I'm gonna go back up here and pull down again. Okay. Again. I think I went too far up. Yeah, a little bit. But we're gonna fix it on this side so that way it matches. I'm just, I've got a little divot here that I'm gonna fix. And I just made another one. I'm gonna go. Why not? No, I'm gonna fix it. Okay. I'm gonna make that a little bigger. Oh, come on. I guess that doesn't usually work out for me. This is just brilliant. We're just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop. You get the gist. So this one ended up coming out a little flatter than this one did. I'd still wear it out. I mean, the only place I'd wear it is work. I don't go out. I stay in my home. Always have. I'm a shut-in. But I like how that looks. Alright, I just pulled that side out a little more to look a little more flat like this one. And now I'm gonna stop putting it away because I don't want to make a mistake that I'm not gonna like. So now I'm going in with that pencil and I'm pulling down on the eye. I'm just trying to do a little bit. Just a little tiny bit out here. Can you see? Here. Yeah. Just a little bit, and then I'm gonna smudge it out a little with my finger. I'm gonna look up and just a little bit. Just a teeny bit. It's not as vivid as black, but it's a little something just to darken up the lash line a little bit. But I've got that in. I am going in with my blending brush. And I'm just going to put a teensy bit of luxury in there. Just a tiny little bit. Barely touched the pan. Tap some off. Just so I can go over and kind of set that a little more. Just to help smoke it out a little more. Make it blend a little better-ish. Same thing on the other side. More. I've got no color on the brush. I'm purely using what is on my eye already. And I'm just pulling it out through the middle, over by the shimmer, over by that highlighter. And again, because I don't have any color on my brush, I'm just using what is on my eye. I don't mind using like the whole thing. So that just helps pull it out a little more. This turned out way better than I was expecting. Now, as you can see, the concealer is, except for on this side, let's pull that out a little. But overall, the concealer's staying pretty much in place. Only reason it was piling up is because I used a little more than I should have. And I didn't put as much as I should have. But if I know a lot of people out there like to do their eyes first and then go through with their full makeup. Some people like to go ahead with full face and then do their eyes. It depends on what you want to do. And more often than not, I think it just depends on whether they want to risk having that fallout come onto their face. Which, I don't know if you can see it. I don't think you can. But I've got sparkles all over my cheeks. I've got it everywhere. I keep forgetting about the microphone, I'm sorry. But this is what... Now, if you are doing full face, a lot of people will go through and take the same highlighter that they put in here, put it out on their cheekbones. Some people like to use a different one. It just depends on what you want, what you're comfortable with, what you think will set the look a little more. The eyeliner. The mascara I usually use, or at least have been lately, is Full Lash Blue. by CoverGirl. It's waterproof for starters, which is amazing. Helps stay on my lashes a little better. But it's got these little plastic bristles, which I've never encountered before. I've got sparkles on my nails. Oh my god, I forgot that I wiped the eyeshadow off of my blanket. Almost 2 hours to do this. If I wasn't talking, it would have taken a lot sooner. Something like this I probably could have gotten done 20-30 minutes, depending on how distracted I got. But I've been talking, makes it a little slower. And if you are using this as a tutorial, you will probably end up getting a lot quicker with it, depending on how often you end up doing it and how often you already do makeup. But I will go in, excuse how dirty this is, please, but I will go in with my lash crimper, crimp my lashes, then I'll go through and I will grab my little spoolie. Now I bent it. This is vertical. Camera's over here. I bent it because I find that it's easier when I'm going on this side. Just pull all those up, brush them out, and then I can use it on this side to brush them out like that. Or I can come in like that. That is just what I like to do. I saw it somewhere. It was vertical, but I also find that it's easier to get behind my glasses sometimes when I wear those. So I will go through, I will crimp my lashes, I'll brush them out real quick, and then I'll use the mascara. And then once that dries, usually by the time I do these lashes and these, then down here and down here, I can go through, brush out these, then these, go forth, and I'll put another layer of mascara on, and then brush those out once they're dry. But everyone does it differently. So, yeah, that's my cute little pumpkin patch eyeshadow. Remember to try and stay as hydrated as you can. Hopefully you've got some nice comfy blankets near you for whenever you're a little cold. Hopefully this works out for you the way that you wanted it to. If not, I'm sorry. I hope you find what you're looking for. But hopefully works out. If you end up using this as a tutorial, I hope that it comes out the way that you want it to, or at least looks really cute. Hopefully it comes out better. Ooh, some green sparkles would look good with this too. I like sparkles too much. Anyways, I'm gonna head out. I hope you have a lovely morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is around you right now. But hopefully this is the first of many. Hopefully I don't get bored with it. Like many, many hobbies. You have a lovely time, and I'll see you in the next one.